What if I told you there was a philosopher who didn't just debate his ideas, he lived them out in the most absurd, hilarious way possible? A guy who was basically the ultimate anti-influencer, living in a barrel and telling everyone to get real. This is the story of Diogenes of Sinope, the OG savage who turned ancient Greece into his personal roast battle stage. Forget the scrolls and fancy togas. This guy's legacy is built on pure, unadulterated chaos. To get it, you have to picture the scene. Athens, 4th century BC. This is like the Silicon Valley of its day, full of smart dudes debating lofty ideas. And into this world rolls Diogenes, a man with zero possessions and even less patience for pretense. He was a cynic, a word that literally comes from the Greek for dog. And trust me, Diogenes leaned all the way into that brand. He saw dogs as the perfect role model. They lived free, didn't care about social rules, and were always ready to balk at a phony. Diogenes was basically a human-shaped stray dog with a very high IQ. He was exiled from his hometown for defacing money, a public protest against the concept of wealth. So he arrived in Athens with nothing but a tattered cloak and a legendary level of sass. His new home? A giant wine barrel. Not a yurt, not a studio apartment, a literal barrel. His philosophy? True wealth is needing nothing. Now for the main event, the epic showdown. Alexander the Great, the guy who had just conquered half the known world, hears about this weird philosopher and decides to see what all the fuss is about. He rolls up with his entire entourage, looking all serious and important. He stands over Diogenes, who is just lounging in the sun, and says, "I am Alexander the Great. Name your wish." The crowd holds its breath. This is it. What's he gonna ask for? A whole kingdom? A mountain of gold? Diogenes just squints up at him and says, "You're blocking my sunlight. Could you move?" Total mic drop. Alexander, instead of losing his mind, just bursts out laughing. He says one of the most famous lines in history: "If I were not Alexander, I should wish to be Diogenes." Why? Because in that moment, Alexander realized Diogenes had something he could never conquer: complete and total freedom. He didn't stop there. He had a notorious beef with his fellow philosopher Plato. Plato once gave a very serious, very boring lecture where he defined humans as featherless bipeds, two-legged creatures without feathers. Diogenes, always the ultimate troll, waltzed into the academy, held up a plucked chicken, and yelled, "Behold, I have brought you Plato's man." He proved his point by simply walking in with a prop. It's like debunking a complicated science paper by just throwing a pie in the professor's face. Classic. And then there's the lantern. You've probably seen the image. Diogenes walking through the crowded market in the middle of the day with a lit lamp. When people asked what he was doing, he'd reply, "I am looking for an honest man." He wasn't actually looking for anyone. He was using a simple act to throw massive shade at everyone around him. In his view, all the fancy clothes and polite talk were just a front. Nobody was living up to their stated virtues. So, what's the big takeaway from a guy who lived in a barrel and threw chickens at famous philosophers? Diogenes' Cynic philosophy was more than just a series of pranks. He believed that true happiness comes from needing nothing. He'd pee in public, eat on the street, and mock funerals because he saw these as pointless social rituals. He wasn't trying to be an asshole, he was trying to be authentic. His lesson? The things we think we need, status, wealth, and even basic manners, are just a prison we built for ourselves. He famously said, "Humans have complicated every simple gift of the gods." He died around 323 BC, with some stories saying he simply held his breath until he passed away, proving that he was the master of his own fate. Or he ate a bite octopus. Either way, he left the world with one final absurd laugh. Diogenes didn't need a throne to be a king. He didn't need followers to be a leader. All he needed was a barrel, a razor-sharp wit, and the guts to live his truth. So the next time you feel pressure to keep up, remember Diogenes. Maybe all you need to do is find your own barrel and for a moment, block out the sun. If you love this deep dive, smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments, what's the most Diogenes thing that you've ever done? Catch you next time.